Alright there guys, and welcome back to a year in review. If you don't know what this is where I recap the whole year from January to December on what's been going on. Whether for me personally, or this channel, or even what's been going on in the world, because there's quite a bit of that this year. Now, I've got quite a bit to go through this year, so we're going to have to split this up into two videos, just like we did in 2021 and 2022. So the first episode, which is this one, goes up on the 30th of December, and the second part will go up on the 31st, the very next day. But without further ado, let us get into 2024, a year in review. So, starting off in January, we started it off with me and Che going bowling for my birthday. It had been a few months since we'd last seen each other, so it was a nice thing for us to do. And he told me while we were there, he told me about a series called Gushing Over Magical Girls, because he'd asked me, am I interested in checking out more Yuri anime series, which basically just means lesbian anime series. That's basically what it means. And I said yes, because as I told you guys at the end of in last year's year in review, that's exactly what I was going to do this year. I didn't end up watching as many shows as I thought I was gonna in the Yuri genre, but I watched a few, and that was one of them. I even covered it on the channel. So yeah, we had a good time, and that was a very good way to start off the year. Then the other thing in January that happened is we reached 195 subscribers. 5 away from doubling my original ultimate goal of 100 to 200. Didn't know how we'd managed to get it all the way up to this, but we did. And that's all we've got for January. Now, February, there's only one thing to talk about. The elephant in the room being, we hit 200 subscribers on the channel. Doubling my original ultimate goal of 100. I never thought I'd get to that. I certainly never thought I'd get to 200, doubling that total. But we managed to do it the same month. It's funny because we hit 100 subscribers in February of 2021, and then we hit 200 in February of 2024. It's funny how every year when I have an anniversary video that I do on the 2nd of February every year, we seem to hit a really good subscriber milestone the same month. And it took us just less, about 3 weeks, it took us over 4 years, just over 4 years, to hit 100 subscribers. And it took us just over 3 more. Well, actually, it took us just under 3 more years to hit 200. I made a celebration video just like I did with 100, thanking everyone who's subscribed to the channel and helped reach this number. But that is all we have for February. Now on to March. Well, there's only one thing we've got in March, but unfortunately it's definitely the saddest thing I'm going to be talking about in this video, and that was the legendary character designer for the Dragon Quest games and Chrono Trigger, the creator of Dr. Slump and Sandland, and of course, some people consider him the godfather of shonen manga, the creator of Dragon Ball himself, Akira Toriyama, passed away. This was a huge shock to the entire anime community, because he created one of the most famous franchises of all time, not just in the type of media that his franchise is in, but in general, just of all time. And there were tributes everywhere for him, from the anime industry itself, anime YouTubers, even football clubs around the world were paying tribute to him. I saw PSG, Borussia Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen, just to name a couple, paying tributes to him. And has anyone noticed that somebody associated with Dragon Ball seems to pass away now every 3 years? In 2018, it was Hiromi Suru, who was the original Japanese voice of Bulma. Then in 2021, it was Christopher Eris, the new English dub voice of Frieza. And now Toriyama himself has gone, which means he never even got to see Dragon Ball Daima, something he was heavily involved in the production of. He never got to see the final Dragon Ball creation he made. Maybe if there's the next Dragon Ball movie, maybe he had some involvement in that as well. There's a good chance of that. So maybe Daima is not the last thing Dragon Ball product Toriyama was worked on, but it's definitely the last series, Dragon Ball series he'll have ever worked on. It was just such a sad day, and no one even couldn't really believe it when the news broke. And the thing is, the news broke only about a week after he had actually passed away. So a whole week passed without anyone even knowing. Well, anyone outside of Japan probably no. People in Japan probably knew when it happened, but for the rest of us, we didn't know until a week later. And that is all we have for March. And now we go on to April. April's the very first month where we have more than 2 topics. So the first one for April is I had a little work trial at a coffee shop that was only for a few hours, and I didn't exactly do very well. Since I was never asked back. There's a shock. But there were a couple of good points to this. The first one being that I got paid for doing this, which I was not expecting to happen at all. And the second one is the people I was basically just shadowing the other people that actually worked there. But there was a plus point to that because I just happened to be shadowing 4 pretty beautiful girls. So that was a very good. That was a big plus. But yeah, they never asked me back, so it didn't exactly go very well. But I got paid for it, so I got something out of that, and the extremely pretty girls I got to work with. Next, we hit 205 subscribers on the channel, which was, another nice milestone. We've slowly climbing up, although from April to about July, I kept jumping between 204 and 206. It got really annoying, and this has been more of a consistent thing happening throughout the year, where I'll go up a couple subscribers, then I'll go down. I'll go up 2, then down 2, then up 1, then down 2, then up 1, then up 1 again, then down 1. It's really, really frustrating. And I don't get it. Why do so many people click subscribe and unsubscribe all so close together? It's very annoying. And for a channel as small as mine, every subscriber matters. All of them matter. But we did indeed hit 205 subscribers in April. And the final thing for April is I went to go see Spy Family Code White at my cinema with Ash. This was one of the first anime movies that had finally been where our local cinema finally started putting anime movies in it again. Because after lockdown, if you remember, the second My Hero Academia movie, Heroes Rising, came out in the UK a couple of weeks before the first lockdown back in 2020, and after that, anime movies just were not appearing in UK cinemas as much. But it seems this 2024 is the year where they finally started appearing again, and hopefully going forward they'll appear more and more in UK cinemas. Because the two of us had a great time because it was a great movie, and of course we both actually covered it on our channels. And that is all we have for April. Now on to May. Now, May will start off with this, you know what, no, we'll start off with this. You may have noticed this little thing here in some of my videos from around May, June time, where I was purposely doing whatever I could to get this in shot of the camera because, well, A, I really, really like it, and B, I like to show it off because there was also in planning for this segment. So there's a little funny story behind how I got this. Well, why I ended up getting it. So in January, I was playing Dragon Ball The Breakers, and in your custom character that you can make, one of the accessories you can have for your custom character is one of these. You can have a black one, a blue one, a red one, and a white one, I think. And due to maybe having autism, I got hyperfixated on these things and decided to start searching for them, but I couldn't find anywhere close to me where I could go and get one. Then in May, this is why I didn't talk about that part in January, because it's relevant to this part in May. I was in a store, and I happened to just notice these things. I was like, oh wow, I haven't looked for those in a little while, and I never thought there was any of these around here, but there are. So I made sure to I purchased one, and I have worn it every single day since towards the end of May. Next up, we have a little mini event that me and Ash went to in our town centre. It was a very, very small event, but it's this little event that happens every year, and we had another great time going there. We had a lot of fun. Then I got home, and it got even better because it was the day of the FA Cup final where United beat City 2-1 to win the FA Cup. So the 25th of May was a pretty damn good day for me. And the final thing that we have for May is a shock general election announcement from then UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Yes, unfortunately, I'm gonna be talking about politics in this video and also in the next one. Sorry, it's been a big year for politics, hasn't it? The US and the UK elections in the same year. Yeah, you kind of have to talk about it. So yeah, the previous election, the one in 2019, happened at the very end of the year in December. And if you remember, the Conservatives won by a landslide. Since then, COVID happened. It's been a disaster for the Conservatives, partly down to their own doing, and the then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak at the end of May announced a shock general election for just over a month from when it was announced. This was a big shock because no one thought the election was coming this early in the year, but then it did. And that is all we have for May. So now we move on to June, and the very last thing, which is the Dark Moon Comics Festival, which is something me and Ash went to together. It was another very small event in our local town. Basically, there's this comic book shop that in our town centre that sells comics and some manga, and this place had more than double the amount of manga. than that place had. It was a very fun event and we had another great time. And that concludes part 1 of 2024, A Year in Review. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and join me back here at the exact same time tomorrow for part 2, where we cover from July to December. I know this video has been a lot shorter than I thought it would be, but we have more topics in the second half of the year to talk about than we did in the first. So thank you for watching, and until we meet again, farewell.